Welcome to the Tip the Scales podcast, where we discuss running and growing your law firm. I'm your host, Maria Monroy, president and co-founder of LawRank. Today, I am joined by Anthony Lopez.
Yeah. Say that so confidently.
And what did we talk about?
What did we talk about?
Yes, we talked about running a 300-person firm.
We talked about technology.
A lot about technology
the
and
evolution
AI.
of law and the future of law as a business.
Yep. Anthony Lopez.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Welcome to my man cave.
I love it. It's really cool.
Thanks.
Although you already told me I'm really dry, so.
You have a very dry way about you.
Well, that's all you're going to get today. It's just, I'm going to try not to smile.
Okay.
All right, Anthony, tell us a little bit about you and your firm.
Got it. So I own a law firm called Your Insurance Attorney.
Okay.
I've been practicing now for about 20 years.
Okay.
I have 300-ish employees.
Wow.
We specialize in representing the little guy against the big guy.
Okay.
So we do everything we do is plaintiff's work. We do a lot of insurance litigation, so representing policyholders against their insurance company. So, after a hurricane, the wildfires in California,
Okay.
Any sort of event, or even a daily claim, we like to get in and help people deal with their insurance company because, like you and I probably know, insurance companies are not in the business of paying claims. They're in the business of collecting premium and holding on to that as long as they can. So we love doing that. We've been doing that for 20 years. We also have one of the largest nursing home negligence practices in the state of Florida.
Okay.
So we basically represent people that are injured in nursing homes. We go after, nursing homes that are putting profits over people. And we love doing that because that makes us feel good. Nursing homes, unfortunately, they kill a lot of people, and they don't care because it's a business to them, and they're understaffed and overworked. And then we have a very healthy personal injury practice.
Awesome. So take me to how you went from 20 years ago to now having 300 employees, and how have things changed for you personally?
Sure. So, I have a degree in business. Law school was kind of an afterthought for me.
So you first did business school, then?
Yeah, I ended up, so I got a degree in business, and then as I was graduating, I was like, well, what's next?
Okay. So your major was business?
Yes.
Okay.
And then my grandfather, who was born in Cuba, was actually a lawyer in Cuba, immigrated to Florida a long, long time ago. But my dad always admired, and I could see the way he looked at his dad, my grandfather, and I thought that was really special. And my dad kind of always pushed me, go be a lawyer like your grandfather. And I never wanted to do it, but then, I found myself graduating undergraduate, trying to figure out what to do with my life, and I was like, you know what, let's go be a lawyer. So went to law school, graduated, worked at a small boutique doing complex commercial litigation.
Okay.
Billing clients. I hated it. No matter how great the result was, they were never happy because they had to pay your bill. So I started representing an insurance company at that firm.
Okay.
I did that for 6 months. I absolutely hated it. It made me feel really bad at night going home and trying to figure out how not to pay claims. It just wasn't work I wanted to do, and I didn't see myself doing it very long. So that firm actually dismantled, and I opened up my own law firm and started representing policyholders against insurance companies. Found out that I really enjoyed doing that. It just made me really happy to take an insurance company to trial and make them pay claims they didn't want to pay. So it kind of just grew from there. I'm a board certified civil trial lawyer, tried a lot of cases. I enjoyed being in court. I say enjoyed past tense because I don't do that anymore.
Right.
But yeah, and then the firm grew from just doing policyholder representation to then doing personal injury and motor vehicle accidents, and then nursing home negligence. So those are our three core practice areas. But essentially, I woke up one day coming back from a trial that I had just won, and I'm like, my God, this is really tough. I was 50 people back then, and I was running the firm as the CEO. I was the head trial lawyer in the firm. I was doing all of the marketing, bringing in all the business, and I realized I couldn't do it anymore. So, and I actually had a conversation with a very prominent PI lawyer who will remain nameless because I'm not sure he wants me to drop his name. But we were talking, we were actually co-hosting a judicial fundraiser together. And I was telling him about my dilemma. I'm like, this is just too much. And he told me, he's like, Anthony, how can you work on your business when you work in your business?
Right.
And I really took that to heart. So the next day, I started putting together a team to help me run my business, and I was going to be the head of that team, and I started hiring really great trial lawyers to start handling the cases that I was no longer going to try. And then from there, our growth was exponential. We went from like 50 to 75 to 150 to 200, and now we're about 300 people in several states across the country. So it's a lot of fun.
That's amazing. So tell me, what is your role as a CEO now? What is it that you focus on?
So now so being the CEO, I really focus on bringing business, right? Making sure that the people that are responsible for handling that are doing their job. I look at the numbers like daily.
Okay.
We have a Salesforce platform that we run our law firm on. So I get live data in terms of how all of the different offices are doing real time, how the specific lawyers are doing real time, who's settling cases, who's not, what is everyone's caseload, making sure that everyone has a manageable workload. So I do that, and then I'm intimately involved in marketing. So I meet with our in-house marketing team.
Okay.
Weekly. I have every Friday at 10 a.m. we sit down, we talk about what's working, what's not working, where are we spending money, where should we be spending money, what markets are good for us, what markets we should be in that we're not in. So that's basically what I do, and it is a full-time job.
Well, it should be, yes, with 300 employees. Now, how many people report to you?
So I have a core team of 5 people
Okay.
that I meet with every Wednesday, and we talk about all of our metrics. It's basically I talk to our CFO, our head of HR, our COO, and then the 2 lawyers that kind of oversee the different practice areas for me. That's basically my squad. So those are the people that directly report to me, and then they kind of oversee all of the different departments. What's become interesting is how technology has been playing a big role in our ability to scale and also lower overhead. So, unlike most businesses where we don't necessarily control the cost of our widget, right? So like if I do law, so I charge my 33%, and despite what the economy is doing, whether it's inflationary or not, whether the cost of living is going up or down, I can only charge what I can charge. My case values don't change. So as things become more expensive, the only way to mitigate that and protect your bottom line is through technology, right? So at least that's the way I see it. So we've been doing a lot of things with artificial intelligence, trying to make everyone's life easier. We have a saying in the office where it's like our mantra is do more with less. Like how can we figure out how to handle more work, how to do our work better with less people, less money. Like how can we do this? And that's been a big focus of ours for the last 24 months. And I'm happy to say it's going really, really well. I feel like we are now able to do better work for our clients with less staff, and we're more efficient in getting cases pushed along because we're really leveraging technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been saying that what I think is going to happen, and I have a feeling you're pretty much saying it is, as venture capital, private equity come in, because they will run law firms like a business. They will make law firms more profitable, so they will spend more to acquire a case. So the cost per case is going to go up, and then firms are not going to be able to afford it because their profit's not going to be as high because they don't implement technology, they're not using AI, they don't know how to run a business, right? So I think you're doing it like perfect, in my opinion.
So, and I agree that you're seeing a lot of private equity dollars flow into the legal market. Concerns me for a multitude of reasons. There's a lot of rationale behind the notion that law firms should be owned by lawyers, right? Because we have ethical obligations and we've put ourselves through school, and the way we make sure our clients' cases are being handled is, I think, different than somebody that is only looking at the bottom line. And you can see a lot of instances where private equity have taken over what were very successful businesses, and then 3 years later, those businesses are in the dumps, right? Because they're not focusing on doing what the business was doing, which was maybe giving people a great experience or whatever that business is. I think, what's that golf place that private equity bought, and now I think they filed bankruptcy.
It's not Top Golf, is it?
Topgolf, right?
Is it?
One of those places where you hit the
Yeah.
golf ball. So the guys that started that, I think, sold it for over $1 billion to Callaway.
That's crazy. I didn't know
Yes,
that.
and then
I mean,
Callaway.
private equity owns everything now.
So Callaway bought it, and basically a couple of years later, like the business is in the toilet because customers stopped having the experience that was there before, because now it's profits over people, right? And you see that notion over and over again in every space. And my concern with this private equity dollars coming into law is, are they going to be putting profits over clients, right? And that's why I think we do such a good job at what we do, is because at the end of the day, we're not chasing money. Like, I don't chase dollars. And I tell that to every young lawyer that comes to work for me. Like, don't come here chasing dollars. You have to be passionate, A, about what you're doing, and B, your focus needs to be helping people. If you're passionate about what you're doing and your sole focus is helping your clients, the money comes. So, and I'm a huge believer in that, because I never chased profits. Even when I was growing my firm, I used to not even look at my overhead. Like, I didn't care. I was hiring people because I had so much work that I wanted to make sure everyone was getting a good client experience.
Right.
And that's incredibly important to me. And, like Google, for example, like we look at Google reviews. Like I focus on that. And I have thousands of 5-star reviews, and that's important to me. I want clients to have a good experience. So yes, private equity is coming into the industry. My concern is there's going to be some sort of mass consolidation. And,
there is.
And basically they're going to be like 5 firms in the whole country. It's going to be like a Walmart scenario where these are the 5 firms that handle cases, because all the little guys are either going to be gobbled up or put out of business.
I mean, and we're seeing law firms being acquired. We're already seeing it.
It's a real thing, but it concerns me because, again, the focus of law should be helping people.
I agree. Now, give us a little bit more detail. When you say you're utilizing technology and AI to run your firm, how are you doing that?
So first of all, the software that forms the foundation for everything we do is a Salesforce platform.
Got it.
And the reason we went with Salesforce is because industry leader in terms of what they do, in terms of document management and client relationship management and all of these things. And it allows us every lawyer in my office can look at their metrics on their team. They can see how many cases they have open. They can see when's the last time they talked to a client, when's the last time they emailed them. They can see real-time settlements, status of all of their cases. And you can see this data like in a 1-page report if you want.
But are you using Litify or something like that?
So we have Litify built on top of Salesforce,
okay,
which was a lot of brain damage to get it going and get it to where it was. And then on top of that, we're now in the process of implementing AI agents throughout the law firm to supplement the teams of lawyers. So in other words, now I can have an AI agent literally calling a client to give them real-time updates. And then if they want to schedule a call with the lawyer, they can do so like instantaneously through the AI agent.
Have you launched this
We're in
beta?
the final stages. I was on a call, what's today? I was on a call Tuesday about launching this in the next like 3 weeks.
I'm so curious how that goes.
I'm scared to death because
I'm scared for
I have robots calling my clients, but I think that it's going to be a game changer. And again, maybe it's going to be one of those situations where it levels the playing field for the little guy, right, to compete with a bigger law firm, because now maybe you don't need a staff of 300. Maybe you can do the same work using technology with a staff of 20. I don't know.
It could be, definitely. I personally think we're going to see a lot of law firms closing shop. A lot of the firms that, went on their own recently, the cost per case right now is really high because you have so many different platforms where you can generate cases. So it's so diluted that way, but it's also diluted because there are so many law firms now, right? This is probably not an issue you have now because you've grown to a point where that's really just not going to be your issue, right? But we're seeing it with smaller firms. I think the firms that do go and implement technology are going to be the firms that have a way higher chance of surviving. The problem is there's a lot of firms that are like set in their ways.
So there's definitely an old school mentality. It's firms that have been doing the same thing for a very long time. And look, those guys are going to probably retire and close shop,
Soon.
and that'll be that. I would be scared to death, given the current state of the market, to be opening a law firm right now as a young lawyer, getting together with your buddies and say, hey, let's do this. Terrifying, because not only have we seen the case acquisition cost, like, I don't know, triple in the last 5 years, you're now competing with not just law firms, but like every Tom, Dick, and Harry is opening a case aggregator situation. So now you're competing with law firms, you're competing with case aggregation firms, you're competing with all of these people that didn't necessarily exist in the market that are trying to generate cases to sell them.
Yeah, it's very, very diluted. Now, I do think there's a place for younger lawyers that are very social media savvy, very tech savvy. That I do think there's a place for that, because through social media, we're seeing it, right? Like, look at Top Dog. A lot of small firms that are young lawyers are generating cases from social media because they're kind of disrupting the space, right? And people are like, oh, you don't look like a lawyer. Like, you don't talk like a lawyer. You seem down to earth. I like you. You're funny. Let me call you, right?
So there's definitely a model for that. And I think Top Dog does something very unique and special.
He's such an outlier, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think there is definitely a place for people like that, and I definitely think he does something vastly different than most law firms that are advertising. But it's also a fine line, right? Because you want to have content that's interesting and witty, but at the same time, you want to be taken seriously as a lawyer, right? I don't want clients to think the content is too funny and not call you. But I think he like rides that fine line like perfectly.
I think he's crossed the fine line. I don't think he cares. I think he's like, look, I'm going to generate cases and this is resonating with people and they're going to call me and I'm getting the case, not you. Like, I think that's how James takes it. Like, I don't know that he even gets like offended. He's just like, yep, this works.
Yeah, no, again, like I think he like figured out where to ride that line, because again, there's a place, in my opinion.
Oh, you mean where they won't call him because he took it too
exactly.
far?
Like he has figured out like exactly how far to take it. And look, I mean,
it's further than I thought.
The line is much further than I thought, but I got to give him credit. He's a genius, a marketing genius.
He is.
But you know, and I think he's crushing it. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, me too. And he's a great guy. So
he's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he is. All right. So back to technology. What else are you implementing?
So, well, we do a lot of things with technology. We're also doing a lot of things to streamline our business.
Okay.
So scaling is always important, and making sure the clients have a good experience at the firm. So the way you do that is by, in my humble opinion, giving them a lot of touch points, right? So constant communication.
What do you use for that?
So we do a lot of things. So first of all, our lawyers and our teams are required to call the clients, every so often.
How often?
So we try to touch our clients at least once every 30 days.
Okay.
Like, hey, how are you? Here's what's going on. So to help with that and to improve the experience, we're getting ready to actually use AI, which is going to be able to call the clients actually more often, and they can actually choose how often they want to be called, and they're going to be able to choose for what events they want contact. So what's neat about that is we're going to have an AI agent whose sole job is to call clients and give them updates and just say hello. And then it'll also allow them to schedule through them while on the phone with the client a conference call with the lawyer handling their case.
And what company are you using for the AI agents?
So I'd rather not say, because I'm a little ahead on the curve, I think, humbly on this.
You are, but I know I wanted to make sure I asked, because if I don't ask, you're going to get emails asking you.
Got it.
So then if you're not comfortable saying, people know that. And
so I have a deal with a company that's not allowed to work in the legal space other than us. Perfect. We have an exclusivity deal going with them, but I'm very excited to get this launched. We also, to make sure our clients can always reach someone and have additional touch points, we have a huge team actually that works out of the country.
Okay.
We actually have a big office out of the country that is staffed by people that actually went to law school in their country.
Okay.
And they basically act as paralegals to help, again, the client experience, making sure cases are being pushed, and that it's important that when you call my office, you talk to a human being or a robot or somebody. Like, you need to talk to somebody. Like, I don't want people being put on hold, and I don't want people, having to dial through a system to try to get to their team. So it's always been important for us that everybody's email has their direct line at the office. Like, you need to be able to talk to your team, no matter how big you are.
Isn't it the number one complaint?
Yes, customer service.
Yep.
Dealing with huge law firms sometimes has a drawback where you feel like you can't get in touch with your team. So we wanted to make sure that although it's a big law firm, it feels like a small law firm, right? And that's the way we have it set up is it's pods, right? So like every case is handled by a team. The team has a senior trial lawyer that's managing the associates and the paralegals. So basically, it's a small firm in the firm.
And do you remember at what point you went to a pod system?
Yeah, so it was a more expensive way of doing business because it was much easier and cheaper to kind of have like a round robin system where everyone was like handling things. But it was a matter of not how many people, it was a matter of how many cases we were overseeing, where we just had to shift from what we were doing to having like a pod system. It's more expensive to staff, but it's a better client experience, and the cases I find are handled much better.
Awesome. Now, let's talk about one of my favorite subjects.
What's that?
How do you guys handle intake?
So I have an entire on-site intake department. We don't outsource intake because I feel like that's one of those very important, sensitive areas of the firm.
It is.
That I want to make sure people are being told the right thing on the phone. So we have an intake manager that oversees everybody doing intake. We're very sophisticated in that people that refer us business, we use APIs to make sure everybody's system's connected, so that law firms can immediately transfer us either the file, transfer an email, or transfer a call. So our call, so our in-house call center, actually, we have like referral partners that they'll call the referral partner, and the referral partner, while on the phone with the person, will live transfer right into my intake team, and we'll take over the call from there and get them signed up.
That's awesome. And what metrics are you looking at? So day to day, because I know you're very big on data, which that's how you should run any business, including a law firm. So what numbers are you looking at for intake?
So we're definitely looking, so again, we have a program right now that our call center people are required to like look at. So we actually currently have an AI system that monitors the phone call and makes sure that the intake person is saying certain things that need to be said to the clients, so that we're compliant with everything that needs to be compliant.
And is this the same company that is doing
This is a different company, and if you ask me their name, I forgot.
Okay.
But I forget. But it's a lot of big companies are using these types of AI to listen to the calls to make sure that certain touch points are being handled. But we look at how long the clients are on the phone. We look at how many of the clients that are being called, that call us, how many of those are turning into actual cases. We look at how many leads we're getting versus cases that are being kept. We look at, our case acquisition cost. We monitor that daily. We also look at our kept case acquisition cost, because that can be very tricky, because sometimes you're like, oh, my case acquisition cost is only $2,000 a file. But then you realize that like 3 months later, those cases like are gone.
Yep.
And then, so it's very important for lawyers that are doing marketing to look at your kept case acquisition costs, because it's very easy for a law firm that spends millions of dollars in marketing to think you're making money or going to make money, and you don't make money. So if you're not following your metrics and actually looking at what's being kept in the firm versus the spend, I mean, you'd be amazed how many people don't watch that.
And are you measuring your sales? Well, I call it a sales team. Are you measuring your intake team to be able to have a specific sign-up rate? So if they had in a given month, 20 wanted cases that came in, do you have a percentage that they need to sign up?
So we're not forcing percentages, right? Because it's a difficult metric in terms of shoving a percentage down someone's throat, because maybe the people that called in were just not valid cases, and you don't want to.
I mean from wanted. So they get 100 calls, 20 of those had a legitimate case. You wanted the case.
Yes.
Are you measuring out of those 20?
100% we're tracking that.
Okay.
100%. So every month we look at the numbers for everybody in the intake team, and we basically see how many calls or leads they got, and then we look up the sign-up percentage. And then we also have sporadically the person that runs the call center will also go through like their calls.
And listen.
Yeah, because we record all of that. Just make sure, quality control, make
Yes,
sure
of course.
people are being told the right things and that we're giving the service that I want to give.
Because you have 3 practice areas, right?
Yeah, so our intake teams are also broken up by specialty. So since we have 3 core practice areas, we make sure that the people that are handling those calls for those specific cases are literally experts in the industry, because we want to make sure that everyone that needs help that calls us, we help. I don't want things to slip through the cracks and cases that we should sign up don't get signed up.
Now, how do you personally stay ahead of the curve? It sounds like you're implementing all these things, and some sound ahead of the game, like the AI agent calling your clients. How do you find these things?
So I think my job as the CEO of the law firm is to be a forward thinker, right? I think any CEO of any company, their sole job is to make sure that your business is viable next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So I spend a lot of my day trying to figure out how to make sure that our business is, number one, performing better than it was yesterday, and number two, how do we stay competitive in a very competitive market, right? I want to make sure that we are always ahead of the curve. So, I read a lot. I love technology. It's important to me that we stay ahead of the curve and that we're able to compete with some of the biggest firms in the country.
What do you think is going to happen to the legal space? I know we touched on it a little bit, but...
So, I think sadly, as private equity dollars continue to flow into the legal industry, I think there's going to be a mass consolidation where essentially the entire country is going to be run by maybe 5 or 10 large firms. It's going to be like Walmart or Kmart or whatever you want to equate it to. And I think, the little law firms that advertise are going to either be gobbled up or put out of business. It's a scary proposition, but I think that's where the space is heading.
But what about, so do you think these 5 to 10 law firms that remain will have really great trial lawyers?
So I would hope so, because that's going to be your competitive advantage. You're going to, in order to get business and compete with people that are basically on the same playing field, that have the same amount of bandwidth and dollars to advertise, you're going to have to differentiate yourselves by something. And I presume that if it's being run by private equity, they're going to want to hit cases out of the park, right? So I think there'll be good trial lawyers there. I would hope so. My concern is, though, the future of trial lawyers, right? Right now,
there's so many, and it's such a thing, right?
Correct, but as AI and technology advances, I think AI at some point is going to replace the associates. You see already some of the larger firms are implementing AI to do large mergers and acquisitions. And they're beta testing this alongside their real team. And the AI is performing the same, if not better, but for a fraction of the cost. So my concern is, who's going to train the baby lawyers? The kids in law school now. I would be terrified if I was in law school now. I would make sure I have a computer science background or start learning AI, because it's going to be, I think, in the very near future, the senior lawyers, the trial guys, are going to be utilizing AI agents to do the research, to do the writing, to draft the simple motions, to draft the complex motions. And they're just going to be reviewing this stuff. You're not going to have to assign young lawyers. And my concern is, who's going to train the next generation of trial lawyers? Is there going to be a next generation?
I don't know. My oldest wants to go to law school really bad. He wants to be a lawyer. And I keep telling him, I'm like, well, you don't know how that's going to change in the next 12 years. It's going to change.
No, immensely. I have a 6-year-old. I hope he doesn't want to be a lawyer. I always tell him not to be, so he doesn't really talk to me about being a lawyer. But I think there are other ways to help people. And if you're dying to be a lawyer, I would absolutely get some sort of computer science background, because I think that's where this is going. I mean, there could be a
Absolutely.
world at some point. So insurance companies are already using like AI agents to settle like cases below certain values. Like
I didn't know that.
oh, that's a real thing. And
That's
they're,
crazy.
yes. So it's just a matter of time before my AI is talking to their AI and coming up with like numbers to try to settle a case. So what is the future for humans in this interaction? It's either you're either writing the code or you're overseeing the robots, because at some point there's going to have to be, from an ethical standpoint, a lawyer in the mix somewhere overseeing the process. But I just think like the associate level lawyer is going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Like my husband and I constantly talk about like, do we even want the kids to go to college? Like, is it even going to be? It already isn't what it was. Is it really like, unless it's like a crazy specialty, but even then there's going to be the AI component. So like we always say we really got to just get them to be really good with technology.
So I think that, yeah, and education is an ever changing, evolving thing. But I think college now is more about being able to get through it than actually what you're learning, right?
Yeah.
Because if you can graduate and do something well and finish it in 4 years, like that says something about you and your character. Whatever they're teaching you, I think is almost irrelevant, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't go to college, so
Oh, okay. Well, I did.
I would hope so. Although I guess there are a couple lawyers that didn't go to college and they just did like an unaccredited law school, so it can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just teasing you. But I agree. I think, look, the world is changing and very quickly
It is.
and very scary.
I think where we are today versus the next 5 years is going to be immensely different.
I know. I wonder if, like, my oldest is 12. I wonder if he's ever even going to drive.
So I talk about that with my wife all the time, and we hope not.
No, I agree.
But by the way, then what happens to PI, like motor
Oh,
vehicle accident cases?
PI has way too many. PI is being hit from all angles. So I hope people really squeeze the next few years.
But yeah, when the cars are driving themselves, I mean, well, I mean, I have a
Yeah.
lawyer in my office whose wife got run over by a delivery robot. It was like delivering food, and it like
I've seen those. Yeah.
yeah, and it hit her.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was that was a letter and a check. They paid. They paid right away. They actually didn't want to get sued because they were concerned about bad publicity.
That's funny. We have Teslas and they drive themselves, but I don't trust them.
Yeah, I've never been in a Tesla, but it actually drives itself. That's like a real thing.
Oh, like 1000%. Like I have a friend that was saying how he put on sunglasses because like it watches your eye and he like actually dozed off. I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
That's very scary.
That gives me a lot of anxiety. He's like, I was on he was on a freeway like where there was no one, like a 2-lane freeway, I think, like no one around, probably like driving from like California to Arizona or something like that. But yeah, it will literally do everything for you. I want to close with this. So you have 300 employees. What's the culture like? Because
So-
culture at law firms is, doesn't have the best reputation, I will
So
say.
it can be difficult. I remember a time when we were 50 people and it felt very familial. And I really enjoyed that at that point. And as we've grown, it's been very important for me to try to keep some semblance of that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, as you get bigger, you're required to do certain things that you didn't have to do before. So now we have an entire HR department.
Right.
But in keeping with that thought process, we still do a lot of really what I consider to be nice things for the employees. We host annual picnic where all of the employees and their families come, and we host a day where they all hang out and let loose. We do events for every major holiday. It's important that we celebrate together. We usually fly in the partners from all of the other states down to Miami, and we'll do events that are weekends long. We're actually, this year, I'm taking our senior leadership team and all of the senior lawyers in the office from the whole country, and we're going to spend a weekend in Aspen. I put everyone up in a hotel, so we're going to have daily team building events where we're going to go hiking and biking and fly fishing and all this fun stuff. And that I find to be very important. I think it does a bunch of things in terms of helping the business. Number one, it builds brand loyalty, right? Because people realize that working here just from a standpoint of having someone that cares about you and your well-being and your mental health matters. So you create a lot of longevity in terms of the employees. I have lawyers that have worked for me their entire career. I mean, I have a lawyer that's been with me for 17 years. He summered with me when I had just started the law firm, and he's been there ever since, and he's now one of our partners. So, doing things to help the employees and the partners in the firm, I find to be incredibly important and rewarding.
But it takes effort.
It takes effort and it takes money, right? So, and you know what? We're okay doing both of those things. And, if it makes people around us happy, it makes me happy. Again, it's never been about dollars and cents for me. It really hasn't. I enjoy the journey of running this business. It's become really fun overseeing such a big business, and we literally help thousands of people. And I love it.
No, that's amazing. I'm always curious when someone, is able to grow a business, especially to like you, 300 employees. Like, what is your mindset like?
What is my mindset
and like your
like?
belief system?
So, I mean, my mindset is relatively simple. It's wake up every day, try to do something better than the day before, continue to push the envelope in terms of seeing how many people we can reach and help, continue to grow, and just do good. I mean, it's really that simple. I feel like if your focus is helping people and doing good and doing what you're passionate about, like everything else kind of falls in place.
But I feel like everyone says that, and I feel like I could get any lawyer to sit here in front of me and they're all going to say the same thing.
Sure.
Like, I just want to help people. We're just here to help people. What do you think is like the actual difference from just saying it to actually meaning it and doing it and living it?
I mean, I think I'm the difference, because when you actually live it and you believe it, you end up with a law firm with 300 people. Like, I never intended to be this big. My goal when I was, a young lawyer, I was like, oh, I'd love to have my own firm, 20 people, 30 people, like big enough to handle any case, but small enough to be nimble. Like, the growth wasn't as a result of me wanting a big law firm. The growth was as a result of having so much work, we had no choice but to grow. I've always been a yes man. Like, I don't know how to say no to business. I don't know how to say no to helping people. I've taken cases that are like outside of our core practice area because they called up and they asked me to help them, and we help them. And I think if your philosophy is that, good things happen.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Was I super dry?
I mean, you're just dry. That's your personality.
Thank you so much to Anthony for everything he shared with us today. If you found this story valuable, please share it with someone you want to see succeed. Subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way to help others discover the show.